We're here today at the Esri 2010 show. We're in the Monterey Cross area for the Defense and Intel, and we're showing some of our historic technology around captures for OneNote for note taking, as well as captures for ArcGIS for taking and grabbing features on paper maps, and some of our new technologies where we've integrated our forms-based solution from Excel into SharePoint. And with the SharePoint solution, we're actually taking handwritten addresses on a paper form, geocoding them with Esri's Map-It. So we've now taken a geospatial application from a paper form. So here's a paper form, and if you're familiar with the captures technology, of course you know that we use a digital dot pattern from Anodo for printing these forms. So this form was uploaded into SharePoint and printed, and as I take the digital pen and I write on the form, the data is being stored in the digital pen. When I take the pen and I either dock it in its base station, or if I use my BlackBerry, we've got a mobile application called Captures Mobile, where I can specify a URL up into a SharePoint service. I can Bluetooth, and you can see we have Bluetooth on the pen. I can actually Bluetooth the data from the pen to the mobile device, and then the mobile device with Captures Mobile will actually send the data right back up to the server. So we don't have to actually come back into the office anymore. We can simply be in the field, Bluetooth the data to the mobile device, and upload to the server. Okay? So what we've done here is after we bring it into the server, we'll see that we have a SharePoint list that gets added. And this is what we're looking at here is Esri's Map-It and their web part to SharePoint. And we see the list here. In this case, our list is called Safe Houses and Suspects. Again, we're in the military site, so we're really demonstrating that sort of functionality around insurgent tracking. So we've got all these forms that have been filled out. You see the list that gets generated in SharePoint, and automatically you'll see on the map we've got some houses that pop in to SharePoint. And with Map-It functionality, we can start looking at some of the attributes for each one of these houses. Right? We can actually see the data that comes in from the form, maybe a little different view there, and we can see all the information that pops into that. Now, we see that on the map, again, based upon the handwritten address. We see all this information that has been converted through handwriting recognition, and if I click on the actual map point, we then pop right into the Captures interface for SharePoint. We see again the database of all of the data that was brought in and converted, all the fields there. And if I choose one more button to edit, we will actually see the image of what was written on that form. So if we look here and we see the form as it is, right, and here's the empty form, right, and I've got the filled out form, we can toggle just to see the ink of everything that I had filled out on that previous form, or toggle just to see the text. Right. And for review purposes, we would do something in the middle where we can simply look at and see both ink and text. As we hover over an item, we can actually see again the handwritten ink, and if we look closely we can see the date, time, and author of that ink. So a little fuzzy there possibly, but it says there it was written on July 6th at 1:18 p.m.
Right.
And we're capturing every ink stroke and capturing the time that we started the ink stroke in that cell.
Yes.
So now we know exactly when those things were filled out.
So where's the intelligence? In the paper or in the pen?
The intelligence is in the software.
Right.
Right? The paper has the dots. The pen with the infrared sensor captures those dots, and those dots are then turned into handwriting, ink, and we do the conversion from handwriting into text. So really the intelligence is in the software.
Yeah, okay.
So we're doing that. We've also are showing some of our other functionality here, a brand new technology where we are enabling PDF documents. And if you've got PDF documents that are geo-enabled, right, you can go ahead and actually start doing all the things with geo-enabled geo-PDFs, right? So we can simply come in here and we can start marking and creating new features and say this is my my area of interest. And here is my suspect. Okay. Now I can just really start marking up this with the PDF. It's a true markup sort of application. When I dock the pen, okay, It's going to ask me to download one page. I'll say yes to that. It's going to go, and because I wrote on this document, we know that it comes from our PDF application, Captures for PDF.
Yeah.
And it's going to open up my PDF document, fire that off, and we'll see those markups. Give it a second here. Here comes the PDF document to open. We see the information that was brought in there that I marked in.
It's your handwriting, right?
That's my handwriting. Not very good, but it's there, right? And if we were to use things like the TerraGo toolbar, we can do things like export the geomarks, export them out to KML. And I've already brought one in earlier where we've got the KML brought into Esri's ArcGIS Explorer, and we've got some previous marks that I had worked on here. Right, so there's some mark-ins that I done on in Jalalabad for the demo.
Yeah.
Right, with military symbology.
Yeah.
Right. So those are really our newest, latest and greatest. The captures for SharePoint, integration with Mapit, as well as the captures for PDF and support for GeoPDF.
Right. How do you think it works? You've seen this military example. How does it go in the workflow of an existing enterprise? How do you get this new stuff in?
Outside of the military, or just in general?
In general.
Well, in general, right?
Because it's new stuff, right? People have to think differently. Go outside with old-fashioned stuff like paper
actually, so
and a pen.
What we think is that people think the same, right? They're used to pen and paper.
Right.
They don't have to change their workflow. They don't have to change the technology they're using, right? To many folks, to field folks, this is still a ballpoint pen.
Yeah.
And all they're doing is filling out a form, right? There's not really a change to their workflow, which means there's very minimal training and minimal impact to changing how they do their business, right? What they're really changing is now they have the ability to dock the pen, upload the data, and not have to rekey any of that information back into a database. So they're really streamlining their workflow. They're not wasting the time having to duplicate effort and getting data back from paper into some sort of database. We're automating that whole process of writing on the paper and integrating that back into the database.
Right, so the back catalog or the back office changes, but the work stays exactly the same as what they were used to do in the first place.
Correct. Yeah. There's not a resistance to this. Where you see with other mobile devices, there's often a resistance to those mobile devices. Right.
And it's just a special kind of paper you have to buy it.
It's regular paper. So it's a regular paper and it's a regular printer. And what happens is when you print from any of the applications, whether it be SharePoint or PDF or ArcGIS, you print with the captures button on our toolbar, right? And that will print the dots from Anodo onto your paper with your printer.
Right.
Okay. So no special paper.
Good. Thank you for this.
You're welcome.